Welcome back to the F1 2018 career mode here, guys, and you join me for round number 11 of the season, and that is the German Grand Prix. Last time out we got some points at our home race in Britain. However, we were sort of, not as fast as the top guys and faster than the guys behind us. We were in a race of our own, really, but coming into this weekend we have the ultras, the softs and the mediums. For this circuit, we did well here last year on a charge after an initial setback. No rain predicted for the race. In the development race, we're actually ahead of Red Bull and Renault. They're close behind us, and Ferrari are disappearing off into the distance. But nonetheless, I get the feeling that as we progress and go onto the power circuits, we are really going to show our hand and our strength for the remainder of this season. You can see second best team Ferrari ahead there. Now ourselves, Red Bull and Renault are very close together. Now I figured I haven't shown this in a long old time to pick a rival. We beat Carlos Sainz, our newest rival, and because I want to impress Mercedes, we're going to line up Bottas as our newest rival, try and beat him in the rivalry and secure a Mercedes seat for next season. So, and this is the R&D we've got in progress. We've got a powertrain upgrade coming for Hungary, and then we have an ultimate weight reduction upgrade for the chassis, which is coming for Italy. So this car is going to hopefully leap ahead of Ferrari and be the best car on the grid in a few rounds. But before that, we've got qualifying for the Hungarian Grand Prix.
Welcome to Germany for today's qualifying session at the famous Hockenheim ring. The pit lane lights will turn green in the next minute or two to signify the start of qualifying.
Said Hungarian, I meant German. My mistake, but we move into qualifying. 5 minutes left on the clock. Here we go for our best lap. We've got to just turn it in a maximum commitment through turn 1, use as much curb as possible, and then we go up towards turn 2. I really use the little green section of runoff as a marker for my braking. We've got a better exit than we did last time around, and that's the fastest first sector of qualifying so far. 2 tenths up on current provisional pole position. We're strong in the first sector, and we're strong in the last sector. It's the middle sector, weirdly enough, the one with the corners that lets me down, braking very late and turning in very late for that corner. We got on the curve, that hampered my exit compared to the Delta, but we're now going to charge up through the flat right-hander near the Mercedes-Benz grandstands. We come into the 90-degree left, just kiss the curb on the inside, don't run it too wide on the outside, and then we go through the right-hander as we charge towards one of our favourite corners on the circuit. Really satisfying to get it right. Kept it probably in too high of a gear. That cost me time as we come in to the final sector. We lost a lot of time that we've made up, but we're still about a tenth up on our personal best so far. Then through this double right-hander, we've missed the apex completely for the first one, but it enabled us to bring it in tighter for the second one. It's only about half a tenth improvement over the line, and it's P7 at the time of asking. Is that going to change before Sunday? Who knows? I like to leave a little question mark hanging there. We'll cool down and go over to Sunday for the race in Germany.
There's nowhere at all I'd rather be today than here at Hockenheim for the German Grand Prix. We have an incredibly competitive field this year, which means we should be in for a treat. And judging by the sea of people filling the grandstands, there's a fair-sized chunk of Germany that agrees with me. With average lap speeds of around 130 miles per hour, the Hockenheim ring is a quick circuit with a lap distance of 2.8 miles, around 17 corners. The main DRS zone through Parabolica leads into the hairpin for the best overtaking opportunity on the track.
Not really, to be honest. I mean, you do get a bit of a pep talk, I suppose. There's certainly somewhat of a raised sense of importance when it's the team's home race, but at the end of the day, we're all professionals. I mean, I want to win every race I compete in, and the teams want to win every race they compete in too. So the stakes are unbelievably high at this level. I mean, the effort is 100%, 24/7 all year round, whether it's your home Grand Prix or not.
Well then, after an exciting qualifying session yesterday, let's take a look at how the cars line up. Sebastian Vettel has a clear track ahead of him today. He starts in pole position, with Daniel Ricciardo slotting in alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Verstappen, Hülkenberg, Sergio Perez, and Raikkonen, Hamilton, Sainz, Alonso, and the captain, Bottas, Grosjean, Pierre Gasly, and Magnussen. Hartley, Van Dorn, Charles Leclerc and Lance Stroll. Sirotkin and Marcus Ericsson rounds off the grid. And now it's time to head down to the track.
This is our engine supplier's home Grand Prix. Let's give them a race worth watching.
So P10 for the German Grand Prix, not exactly what I ordered in qualifying, but it was a scruffy performance. I definitely feel like I could have done better. So we're going to run ultras for the starters, so that's what we qualified on. Then a couple of sets of the soft compound tyre. Really, really push those. They hang on really well around this circuit, especially when the fuel load is going to be lighter. So I'm hoping for a good one, honestly. I would hope for another top 5 finish, podium, if we really get on a charge. Had a real challenge trying to get the car to stay committed and flat through a couple of the corners here, and that's probably what attributed to qualifying, because I did a lot of setup tweaks, but nonetheless we have to deal with the hand that we've been dealt, as we have 5 red lights for the German Grand Prix. Lights are out and away we go, bogging down as we always do off the start. Bottas has beaten me towards turn 1, so we're going to go flying, and we just missed the back of Alonso's McLaren, and then we're going to be rich mixture, sit in the slipstream. We have fallen back a little bit up towards turn 2. We pull to the inside, brake late, a little bit of brushing and wheel banging with the McLaren. But now Hamilton is slow on the exits. We're going to pull to the left of the Mercedes. He pulls to the right. Sainz's slipstream now we're into. We're going to try and force our way through, push Hamilton wide, Perez down to 6. We're alongside Sainz, and then Perez and Raikkonen slow into the hairpin. We take the tightest inside line, brake incredibly late, and that is 10th up to 5th by the hairpin of lap 1. Superb offensive driving there from myself, if I do say so, and that puts us there, like I said, in 5th position. Vettel leads the way from Daniel Ricciardo. It appears that Hülkenberg's got himself ahead of Verstappen as we close out lap 1. But let's have a look at a replay of this move from the back of Sergio Perez. You see me push Hamilton wide, go to the inside of Sainz, and the closing speed was just ridiculous. Luckily, Perez saw it coming, pushed Raikkonen out. Unfortunately, I pushed Perez onto the curb, and that cost him on his traction by the looks of things against the Renault of Sainz. But then, of course, Perez has the superior power unit, and he was able to get his way through. So in a way, I helped Perez, in a way. Vettel setting the pace on a 14.6, we're on a 15.8, so not a brilliant lap. We're about a second and a half back from Max Verstappen, and we've of course got Sergio Perez up behind us. These tyres are only going to last about 5 or 6 laps, so we really just, if I'm honest, we just need to pound the life out of them and get onto the soft compound tyre early. But we set the fastest first sector of the race so far. Perez is in my slipstream, going to have DRS at this stage, and I'm like, do you know what, let's let him through. Let Sergio through. Yes, he's been outperforming me recently, but hopefully I can stick behind Perez. Like I mentioned in qualifying, I'm very good in Sector 1 and very good in Sector 3, so I'm hoping that I can use Perez as a slingshot, as Grosjean retires from the Grand Prix, but use Perez as a slingshot to bring myself up behind the 2 Red Bulls and the Renault. So end of lap 3. Unfortunately, we're getting a bit of dirty air off the back of Perez, but here we go. Start finish straight when I can just get the car on the tarmac.
You'll be on the softs.
Open up the DRS. You can see there though, as we extend track limits through turn 1, we can see we just get the additional speed. I didn't use DRS on that backtrack, so I don't actually want to pass Perez. I want to use him as a slingshot. So here we go. Look, we're going to turn the ERS down. We're going to open up the DRS, and we're going to stick it in lean, because with the slipstream and DRS, we're going to get loads of speed, but I don't want to pass him. And you see, we're saving fuel, saving ERS at this early stage of the Grand Prix, so we can attack after our pit stops. That is the plan I'm formulating. Then back up to standard and medium on the exit of the hairpin, and let's try and keep it up for a couple of laps. So, end of lap 5, Vettel in the pits, Hülkenberg in the pits, Perez in the pits. So, now that we've got a bit of clear track ahead of us, and we've done a 16.2, now the tyres are falling off, we'll do rich and high, and let's see what we can do on this in lap then. Push as hard as we can, and we're going to come in now, end of lap 6, where Ricciardo's come in. Verstappen's got to go another lap, and I've pushed, annoyingly, into the gravel trap in the pit lane, and that's cost me some time. Probably all the time I was hoping to make up on that in lap, but let's have a good pit stop then. It's 2.1, and we're held for the McLaren and the Red Bull. If the McLaren wasn't coming down, I think we would have beaten Ricciardo out the pits there, as we get Sainz come past us at the exit of our pit stop. And Hamilton now right up behind us, who obviously wasn't just before the pit stops. That's how much time we've lost. And there's a Ferrari of Raikkonen behind as well. So we've now got Hamilton up behind us as we now go down the back straight, if you want to call it that, even though it is just a long curve, the Parabolica. Hamilton now slipstream, DRS, he pulls to the left-hand side. He's got that speed. We're going to duck back into the slipstream of the Mercedes, and we're going to try and have a go into the hairpin, push him out wide a little bit, but Hamilton gets a much tighter line, a better exit as well, and we're now looking at defending from Raikkonen rather than attacking the Mercedes. That's Hamilton has completely done me there. That goes to show the veteran instincts of Hamilton versus the upstart rookie of myself in the Force India. But we now come to the end of lap 7, beginning of lap 8, and we're going to have another go. So through turn 1, Bottas comes out the pits. There's a Red Bull, a Sauber, and a Renault all battling up ahead. And if I can get my way past Hamilton's, I'm trying to do around the outside of turn 2, then through turn 3, we've got the inside on the Mercedes driver. We're going to go once again DRS standard. We've got Raikkonen attacking us now. We pull to the right hand side of Hamilton, similar to the first lap. Raikkonen's going to make it 3 wide in very close proximity into the hairpin, but we keep it under control this time and just cut across the exit, forcing Hamilton off the circuit, make it so he can't get a good run. But then we've got the McLaren of Alonso getting in the mix now and fighting the Ferrari of Raikkonen. Hamilton might have been able to have a move there down into the Mercedes-Benz grandstand, but he thought better of it, and that's us finally past the Mercedes. It took longer, and I ideally wanted to defend the position better than I did, but here we go again. Start of lap 9 with Marcus Ericsson, who's had a poor run through turn 1. I had to essentially turn everything down and come off the throttle because I feared that I was going to cream straight into the back of the Sauber, who is holding on through turn 2 and 3. And has got DRS on me, and he's going to have DRS on me on this Parabolica, and he's just breezing straight past me. And there goes Hamilton once again, out of nowhere, just comes along the right-hand side. He's now going to try and make a move on Ericsson round the outside, and we're having to... I was thinking about a dive down the inside. Ericsson chopped me off. He pushes Hamilton wide, who gets the better exit than him. I'm going to sit in the slipstream of the Mercedes driver, see if we can get anything done. We go wide off the circuit through the right-hander, and that opens up for a move down the inside of Hamilton at the Mercedes-Benz grandstand. He holds on, but then takes too tight of an apex through the long right-hander, and we're finally, hopefully finally, done with that scrap with Hamilton as we now come in through the Sachs curve and into the stadium complex. And just look at this lovely aerial shot as I speed up through it, annoyingly, which I forgot that I did before I put it in the video, so that's annoying. Gonna have to see what I can do with that one. Anyway, back to the action. Ricciardo battling Sainz. This is lap 10, so we've got a good few laps left on these tyres, and with Ricciardo battling Sainz, that's going to open me up for any kind of potential overtake, as Verstappen is just up the road, and so is, I believe, the Renault of Hülkenberg. And remember, those guys were the ones fighting early on. Perez, much further into the distance. Him coming in earlier than the 2 Red Bulls has been beneficial, as we have a much better run through the Sachs curve than Ricciardo, and we're able to go down the inside of the Dunlop hairpin there in the stadium section. A rare place to overtake, but still, you've got Hülkenberg battling Van Dorn, and then you've got Verstappen, Sainz, myself. Ricciardo has fallen back into the clutches of Hamilton back there, but I don't know what Perez has done during the pit stops, but he has disappeared into the distance as we are going to slingshot ourselves 211 miles an hour on the brakes, just about into the hairpin. Sparks fly, a bit of contact made, triple overtakes due to the late braking of the hairpin. I don't know if I took any damage from a light tap I had with Hülkenberg. Yellow flags now up ahead. Remember, all these fights are for position, and we're going to come through the right-hander into the stadium section. Save a bit of ERS through this section so we can have a go at Hülkenberg on the very next lap. Sebastian Vettel has retired from the lead of the German Grand Prix, similar to real life of 2018, and that means Sergio Perez inherits the net race lead, not the current race lead. I believe he's currently in P3 because there's a couple of Toro Rossos ahead of him on the one-stop strategy. But we've saved a bit of ERS through the final sector, and we're going to try and just save a little bit of fuel against Hülkenberg by leaving it in standard, and we're going to have a go at him on the run down towards the Parabolica. He moves right before turn 2. That's going to cost him some speed through the exit, so we're just going to have to sit in his slipstream up to high. DRS now open. We have fallen our way back, but up to Rich, up to overtake, and look at the speed that this Mercedes engine has. Just pull to the right-hand side, nearly 210 miles an hour before we hit the brakes going into the hairpin. Hulkenberg tried to fight us with a bit of late braking, probably as a bit of payback for the previous lap and the shenanigans that I put on him there, but now we can turn everything back down again and use just the raw speed of our car to catch up to what looks to be obviously Leclerc ahead of us and the Williams just up ahead, on the basis that those guys, like I said, they started on the soft tyre and they are going to go to the mediums, and we have a tremendous run through the first corner. We've already caught up to Leclerc by turn 2, considering the gap was nearly a second as we crossed the split on the finish line. That goes to show the absolute raw speed of our car through turn 1 and how planted it is there. And we get a little bit of slipstream. Just we put it down to lean, up to high on the RS. We're not going to have to attack too much going past Perez, and you can see, going past Leclerc, sorry, and then Perez, like it says, he's now passed both Toro Rossos on track to move into the lead of the Grand Prix. So Perez is in a physical lead of the Grand Prix, whereas we ourselves are in a net P2, and we're actually on for our personal best lap of the Grand Prix as we are strolling, get it, up to the back of Lance Stroll, our old teammate in the Williams. Good to see him with the car up there so high, but of course it is because of the strategy as we get it all wrong coming into the double right-hander, but thankfully Stroll moves out of our way to come in for his one and only pit stop. Brendan Hartley also in the pits, and that leaves puts us up into P3, but like I say, it is a net P2 on the basis of once we catch, or we're behind Pierre Gasly, and we've both got one stop left to make in this Grand Prix. So it's currently looking like a net P1 and 2 for Force India, but I am a little bit concerned in the fact that Verstappen has broken free of the train behind us, and he could be a threat as we move to a 15.3. Now that we're in fresh air, these tyres, even though they've only got about 5 laps left in them, are definitely giving me some support. Perez now pits, which makes sense. He was in the lap before me last time, so we're going to do that again for the second round of pit stops. So Perez is in. There's a very short pit lane here in Germany, and he will be coming out, I imagine, P3. Verstappen moves up to P2. Perez, is he going to get ahead of that train? If he came out ahead of the train traffic, then it's bad news to me. If he was involved in the train, no, he's well ahead of it by the end of lap 20, looking at it. So get it nicely slowed down, attack the pit lane much better this time around. Verstappen goes on again. Now, I don't know, that Red Bull is clearly the easiest car on its tyres. The only thing I could see him trying to pull off is going really long and then going ultras to the end of the Grand Prix, but that doesn't seem like a viable strategy as Gasly and Hartley have got past me. But we're closer to Hartley than he was when he pitted, and of course we have the Mercedes power unit in the back of this car that we have been developing, and realistically, if we don't make the move that time around, which clearly we didn't because we're now at the end of lap 21, lean and low, and Verstappen did pit once again onto soft compound tyres, so no, he isn't doing some kind of ridiculous strategy. We're going to use our DRS. Hartley's going to move across, really try and squeeze me off the circuit there, but we're just going to come past now into turn 2. Nice tactical move made. Try and cut across him, but we kept an eye on the mirror because he kept his nose there and I didn't want to cause too much of an incident. Gasly is in P2, and of course Perez leads this Grand Prix. Here comes Hartley because I was keeping everything turned down. Hartley going to come screaming past with his DRS open, but we're just going to go late on the brakes like we have done all afternoon here in Germany. And that's just our favourite overtaking spot. And it's the best one on the circuit, quite frankly. Into the hairpin. And Perez is a long way ahead now. A long way ahead as we now move on to lap 24. Just closing the gap to Gasly. Personal best lap of a 14.6. I don't know what the fastest lap of the Grand Prix is, but we must be closing in on it as we now scream past Gasly on the short straight up towards turn 2. He tries to get a move done with some late braking. I tend to just be braking earlier to see sort of where my rivals want to put their car. And now we're probably going to see Gasly give it a go on the Parabolica, because everyone has done over the course of this race. We'll just tuck back into his slipstreams, get that extra speed, and once again, carbon copy of the move we made on Hartley. Just, we've got a little bit tighter because Gasly was a little bit further ahead of us, but perfect execution, just a copy-paste. And that is us up into P2. Perez now, long way down the road. And I don't think we'll be seeing him for the rest of the afternoon. Hopefully we remain on board till the sector split. How much of a gap does Perez have over me? We crossed the line at 12.3 seconds. So I think Perez has got this all in hand as we come on to the final lap of the Grand Prix.
Final lap of the race.
And he's now 16.1 ahead of me. We're still setting lap times close to our personal best, so still pushing the car, but for this final lap I just figured, you know, I was trying to set a fastest lap, didn't really have it done, so for the final lap, let's put it on cooldown, just no ERS, lean fuel mixture. We've got about 4-ish seconds back to Verstappen. I don't think he's going to be coming at me in any way, shape or form, but you know, I might start doing this. You know, I did it in Germany, not Germany, Britain, and I'm doing it again in Germany. I'm all over the place with my words today. Just the final lap of the Grand Prix, just have a chat, you know, a bit of a race review. So yeah, up from 10th to 2nd with some offensive moves into the hairpin round the circuit. I definitely feel like I've shown my overtaking skills, and I should definitely be able to be painting myself. I'm pretty sure I'm going to thrash Bottas in the rivalry challenge for this weekend and paint myself in a positive light for Mercedes. You know, I want that job, and I'm hoping to have it. Perez sets the fastest lap of the race on the final lap. Goes to show the speed of the Force India. I'm pretty sure this thing can do a 113 or a 112 in low fuel, ultra soft conditions even in the race. But here we go, round the final corner, nice and easy, crossing the line to make it P2 in Germany.
Okay, good job, mate. Really well done. That was a fantastic drive.
I can see them on their way out to the podium now. Force India have really come a long, long way in this sport. And what a special race this was, to see them earn that top spot.
So Sergio Perez wins the German Grand Prix from 18.8 seconds back to myself. He started P5, I started P10, and look at that, we have surged our way through. Max Verstappen brought it home for the final step of the podium in P3. I do think he deserved it there. He drove a really good race and was definitely tough early on. Pierre Gasly, first of the one-stoppers there to bring it home in P4. Superb result for him. It's unfortunate his teammate Brendan Hartley just dropped a little bit too far back from him, and Raikkonen and Sainz fought their way through for P5 and P6. Hamilton down in P8 from 7th on the grid. Ricciardo, not sure what happened with his afternoon, but he dropped to 9th, considering he started P2. And Hulkenberg down there in 10th just did not have the pace to climb up any higher, considering he was 3rd in the early stages of this Grand Prix. But Perez with a dominant performance, and you have got to wonder, what if I didn't let him through on lap 5?
Amazing performance out there. You must be really happy. Did you struggle to get through all that traffic today?
I mean, it didn't look like a struggle, did it? It looked like I just surged past them.
You must be happy with the result today.
I mean, I am. 10th to 2nd is nothing to be upset about. Could have probably got the win if I'd stayed ahead of Perez, though.
You're surpassing all expectations. Can anything or anyone stop you?
At this point, probably only my teammate, really. But the way the car's going, I don't think so.
That was a close finish. How are things between the two of you?
18.8 seconds is close to you. All right then, you do you.
Appreciate your time.
Just wanted to say congrats on the podium. It's thoroughly deserved. We were sweating those last few laps on the pit wall, but you brought it home.
Thanks, Jeff. Really appreciate that. So yeah, there we have the German Grand Prix, one of my favourites on the calendar, and I'm hoping it stays on there permanently in the years to come, because it's just such a fun track. You can really throw the car around, especially in that first and last sector. But yeah, Perez winning another Grand Prix. I think that brings him up to 4 or 5 race victories now, compared to my 2, and he's going to be catching us in the championship. And of course, with Vettel retiring, you know, it could come down to a 3-way fight here. But of course, we are trying to impress Mercedes and try and get that drive for next season. Guys, I hope you have enjoyed, and if you did, please consider leaving a like down below and comment any feedback, of course, in the comments section. If you want to be kept up to date with the content coming to the channel, remember to hit that subscribe button and enable them notifications. I know I mentioned it in the last video, but I'll mention it again here as well. I have started to stream a little bit more recently, and you'll be able to catch all my stream archives on the channel. Hopefully one day I'll get all the playlists and all that sort of stuff sorted. But you will see some streams and stream archives on this channel. I am live usually on YouTube, but in the event that I'm not, you can always find me on Twitch. So twitch.tv /iPsychoEnigmaI, or you may find me on Mixer, mixer.com/psychoenigma_X, because that's linked with my Microsoft account that I have on my Xbox. So yeah, some interesting times ahead, hopefully for me, hopefully for the channel, and hopefully, of course, for us as we move closer and closer to that potential Mercedes seat. Next time out, we have the Belgian Grand Prix, the real... no, we don't. I keep getting the races wrong. You can tell that I'm brilliant at this commentary thing by now. I've only done it for like 4 years or so, on and off. Next time out, we have the Hungarian Grand Prix, where we're getting a power upgrade. Then we have the Belgian Grand Prix. Then we have the Italian Grand Prix left of like the European season. Then we come into some sort of tracks that I'm not really a big fan of. But I guess I have nothing left to say. But I will see you all next time.